I can't believe the stuff that that I am hearing on the news. Okay. I just I just can't believe it. I can't believe what I'm hearing. So I don't know if anybody else has been listening with any intent to the news, but I have because a lot of shit's going on in our world, right? So, and I found out that they have created hamburger in a lab and they want us to buy it. They want us to eat the hamburger that's in the lab, that's created in the lab, because they think that killing animals is inhumane. And not only inhumane, but that it is having big farms of cattle that are bred strictly for meat, right? For society, for meat, that they are contributing to the carbon footprint, okay, which causes climate change, right? Right. So what they're saying is what we're eating, that there's too many. There's too many. And so what they're trying to do is what they're doing, actually, because it's in the law now in the States, is they are taxing cattle farmers. They're taxing them so much that a lot of the farmers are having to close down and not able to pay the tax that they need to pay on their particular carbon footprint for their cattle. And so they're having to basically close their farms down. And we're talking about farms that have been in like generational farming, okay? We're talking cattle, we're talking sheep, we're talking um, pigs, okay, that contribute to our meat source as a society. Okay, so bear that in mind, and I'm not done yet. And I did mention this in my previous videos. I told you that they were going to go after our supplements, they were going to tax them, and they are. FDA is going to regulate supplements, and they are going to tell you what's in those supplements and if you can take them. And they're going to put the ones that you need, they will put the price right through the roof because they got to make their penny, right? They got to make their money, and that's exactly what they're doing. And I said supplements, then they're going to go after our spices because we can do without supplements if we use spices. Yeah. And sure enough, the spices have gone through the roof. I have been trying so hard to get one particular spice that I'm not going to mention, but they have basically blocked it at the border. They're not letting it pass through. Okay, so keep that in the back of your head. Now everybody's talking about conspiracy theories, okay? Well, you know what? I'm starting to frickin' believe it. I'm starting to follow in that groove because not only is it the cattle, the animals, the meat, our meat source, okay? And then our supplements, and then our spices, okay? Our children, our sexualities, what we're learning, our freedom of speech, of thought, of action, of religion. Every one of these things is being affected. Okay. And here's the big one. Okay. Here's the big one and this is pissing me right off. This is pissing me right off. Because it's like, I don't know what's wrong with society. What's wrong with us? We have young people who are up and coming young people with big mouths, big mouths. And you know, why are you not fighting for this? What, do you not see what's taking place? We have a person in a position of power right now who idolizes communist parties, okay? And they even do standing ovations for them. And then they, when they get called on it, they pin the blame on someone else. And it happens all the frickin' time, all the time. And I see these young people going through their life with their eyes closed. You're blind to it. You're like a bunch of sheep being led to the slaughter. Like, what the hell? Like, what the hell? I don't get it. So here's the big one. Last year, I'm a senior and I'm in Canada. And last year I was having a hell of a time buying food, affording food. And I couldn't even get into the food bank because the food bank was overwhelmed and they weren't able to help me. Okay, so food wise, I was struggling quite a bit, quite a bit. And my health was struggling because of that. Okay. So I grew a patio garden on my patio. And I live in an apartment building, but I had container gardens on my patio, and I grew radishes, I had lettuce, I had bok choy, I had onions, I had a lot of vegetables. So I was eating good salads every single day, okay? Which is great, which is great. So now it's the winter weather, so I'm not able to do that. Okay, so I'm not able to grow anything. So I'm watching the news and I'm getting excited because it's getting close to the good weather. And I'm thinking, there's a community garden where I live. I might join forces over there and plant a garden. And then, oh my God, and then I'm watching the news. Okay. And there is a university in the States called the University of Michigan, okay? And they did a study. It's an international study. International, okay? So across the board, right? And what they're saying is that vegetables, okay, fruit and vegetables that are grown in urban farms and gardens, okay, backyard gardens, front yard gardens, patio gardens, you know, herbal gardens, okay, they're saying that they have a carbon footprint that is six times, now let me check this out, six times the carbon footprint. Oh, hang on, of agriculture. Six times. They're trying to say that is six times the carbon footprint of agriculture. So, in other words, the big farms who are planting the big rows and fields of crops, okay, that we, as backyard gardeners or patio gardeners or small time gardeners who grow, a couple of vegetables, right? That we are contributing six times what those agricultural farms are doing. So, what they're basically saying is that they want to ban all gardening. Yeah, they want to ban it. They don't want to allow us to grow our own food. So let's get one thing clear here, okay? Let's get one thing clear here. The shit that they put in the food at the stores that they're telling us we have to buy and we have to eat, okay, is full of omega 6s, trans fats, horrible for you. It's full of sugars. It's full of preservatives. It's full of like here's one thing, okay? My magnesium supplement that I'm taking, okay? It has got magnesium stearate in it, okay? And a lot of the products at the store have to have something put in them to bind them so that they stick together, right? So they use cellulose, they use glue, they use well, cellulose, it's a form of glue, right? It's a food glue, basically, right? And they use magnesium stearate, which is what? Magnesium stearate is in my magnesium oxide pills, the magnesium that I take for my blood pressure. Okay? Magnesium stearate is in that magnesium oxide, and they use it as a glue to hold the product together. Okay? So you see what I'm saying? Is they put all this shit in the food at the stores and they tell us you have to eat it, you have to buy that because we have climate change, right? We have climate change. So you have to eat what we tell you to eat. You have to take and do what we tell you to do. Right? And where I am in Canada, they have stripped basically every freedom that we have. I mean, even our native population who feed their families by hunting and fishing, okay? They're stripping them of their rights to carry weapons, to carry the hunting rifle. In Canada, every year there is a thing called hunting season, and a lot of the hunters get up and they guard the overpopulation of certain species of animals because they hunt them and they hunt them for food. I don't know about you, but I have tasted venison and it is like venison steak, venison meatballs, okay? Things like that. I don't care. You're a vegan. That's fine. You're a vegan, whatever you call it. Then don't eat the meat, right? But listen, you're not immune from this taking your power because now, my dear friends, my dear vegans, okay? You know what they're doing now? Yeah. They're putting the kibosh on you growing a garden. Hmm. And it's no word of a lie. Check it out. So that study with the University of Michigan, it's an international study. So it is across the board. And those people, those elites in the positions of power, okay, they're getting richer and richer and richer on us, the population, eating those trans fats and eating those poisons that they put in the food. And they legalize things that are going to kill us. I mean, we've got overpopulation as it is. Like, when I'm thinking about this and I'm thinking, conspiracy theorist, it's not a theory, it's an actual fact. You know, how many people die from cancer and kidney disease and stroke and aneurysms and like all sorts of shit, right? Right? And why are our arteries and our lungs and why are all these things in our body clogged up? Well, for one, cigarettes are legal. And where I am, yeah, now they're legalizing the right to have a certain amount of illegal, illicit, heavier drugs, like methamphetamine. You're allowed to have a certain amount of it on you, where I am in Canada. So they will watch you die. They will watch you shove a needle in your arm. They'll even give you a room to put it so that you can put that needle in your arm because they feel sorry for you, because it's a human right, because it's your right to shoot up, right? Yeah, yeah. And if you die, well, you die. But they gave you the room to do it. And they gave you the free drugs. And they gave you the needle. Instead of helping you to get off that shit. Okay? And if that's your life and you want to do it, then you do it. You do it. But be well aware of the risks. But I'm talking more mainstream addictions. I'm talking cigarettes. And I was addicted heavily to cigarettes. I smoked almost 2 packs a day. It almost killed me. I was overweight. I was like, I had heart problems. Just a lot of issues. Cancer, right? But cigarettes are legal. Yeah, cigarettes are legal. And they even flavor them to give them a better flavor. Yeah. But eventually, those cigarettes are going to kill you. I was lucky. I was lucky. I was able to quit. I was able to see what it was happening to me, and I was able to quit. Okay, let's move down the line. When I was a young girl growing up, um, I had to get needles. We had to get needles in order to go to school. We had to get vaccinations in order to go to school. And I did. We got all those vaccinations, and I wasn't against it because the polio virus. Okay, I had I guess you would say a friend who caught polio as a child, and they weren't able to walk because of the fact they caught it. But if the polio vaccine had been available for that person would not have contracted polio, and they would be alive today, and they would be walking and talking and doing well. Okay, so I don't disagree with them. Okay, but I don't agree with putting something out because there is a rush order on it. Okay, yeah. Who made money from the past 2 years, the shit that was going on in the world? Who made money from that? I wonder who it was. Well, it wasn't us little guys. It wasn't us little guys. It wasn't the ones who are like pretty near, having to grow some cabbage on our patio gardens. Like, it wasn't us. We didn't make any money out of that shit. And when we started to stand up and we started to speak our piece and we start to say, hey, something wrong with that. I don't agree with that. Well, what did they do? They put their hands in their pockets. Oh, I should say, not their pockets, our tax dollars, okay? They put their hands in the tax dollars and they said, here, you keep your mouth shut and we'll give you some money. We'll give you some money to help you through climate change, right? You just keep your mouth shut. Don't complain. Don't complain. And even when I listen to the politicians, okay, and I'm listening to the parliamentarians, and I'm listening to them when they're in that big house and they're kind of shooting their spiel back and forth, they're basically just shouting at each other. They're not doing anything. They just reiterate the same thing over and over again, okay? So I watch it every once in a while because it's funny. It's hilarious. I think it's like it's stupid, basically. It's not doing anything. They're just shouting at each other in this big room, and they have somebody sitting at the front that says, okay, now we've got to hear the other person, right? They do nothing. They do nothing, right? But those are the people who say, okay, if you keep your mouth shut, we're going to give you some money. Yeah. We're going to give you, what is that called? Climate change incentive, right? Yeah. Uh-huh. So they stick their hand in our pockets, in the tax dollars that could be utilized for roads, that could be utilized for education, that could be utilized for medical help, for dental care. Okay. They take that money and they say, well, you know what? Here's some money to help you with climate change, because we realize that there is climate change. Okay. We realize it, but we're going to give you some money. We're going to buy you off. And they even talk about it in Parliament. They even talk about the fact that you're making you're getting back more money from the tax dollars giving you climate incentive, or climate incentive stipends. You're making money on climate change, so you don't have the right to complain. That's what they say. That's what they say in Parliament. I don't know. If I were you, I would just sit and I would listen to some of the bullshit that they spiel in those things. One shouts at the other shouts at the other. I mean, it's like, like, what are you doing? What are you solving? You're not solving shit, right? And then these same people who are saying, we have climate change and, we got to give you some extra money and, you got to stop farming and you got to stop having cattle and you got to stop having these farms. These same people, they jump in an airplane and they jet across island Canada. So there was one particular person in a position of power who took a plane and went right across the whole country so that he could spend holidays with his family and his friends in another part of the country, right? Uh-huh. Yeah. So there was a jet there and there was a jet back. Oh no, there was two jets because I think it broke down, right? One of the planes broke down, so we got another jet, right? Yeah. So the jets are put at the disposal of all these elites. Yeah. I don't get it. So now we're not going to be allowed to grow a garden. We can't buy beef off a beef farmer because that's too big a carbon footprint. But we can smoke our lungs out and we can light up that cigarette and we can light up those factories. And plastic. Okay, here's my little spiel about plastic. So they ban plastic. Okay, okay, they ban plastic. Jesus. Oh, okay, so plastic bags are banned, but sugar comes in a plastic bag, flour comes in a plastic bag. Uh, like there's so I could go to my cupboard right now, and even though I like to use glass, I can show you almost every single solitary thing that you buy at the store comes in plastic. You really want to make a difference? Start using paper bags that are compostable. Yeah, start using paper bags. Sell your flour in paper bags. Sell your sugar in paper bags. And you know what? All those glass bottles that are filling the landfills, and I'll show you a picture of my cupboards, okay? All those glass bottles. Mhm. So the things that I purchase, I try to purchase things that come in paper bags. And when I get home, I cut open the paper bags, right? And I put the the ingredients into a glass bottle that I have recycled from my own use, from bottles of pickles, from bottles of jam, from bottles of whatever, and even mason jars. Yeah. So, it kind of makes me want to laugh. I just it's like freaking hilarious, because think about this, right? You grow a garden. You have a garden of, let's say, what can we say? You grow a garden of ginger, ginger. Okay, because I chew a lot of ginger. You grow a garden with ginger. Damn me because of that climate change. Anyhow, so you grow a big garden of ginger, and then you bring the ginger in and you dehydrate it, and you put it in a glass jar and you put it in your cupboard. Simple. That's it. There's no processing. There's no added ingredients. There's no need to put in chemicals. That, by the way, a lot of those chemicals they use to bind the food together, they also have to be created somewhere, right? And so that adds to pollution. Don't think it doesn't. It does. It does. Uh-huh. Yeah. So when we're growing food, we're going right from the garden right to the cupboard. Yeah. Or right to our bellies, whatever. Right. But when they grow ginger, in a an agricultural center, okay, where it's only going to be grown in that one specific area, right? They need to run the machinery in order to pick the ginger. They need to run the machinery to clean it. They need to run the machinery to cut it, to dehydrate it, to pulverize it, to put something in it so it doesn't spoil when it hits the shelves, because a lot of the times it'll sit on the shelves for a long time, especially powdered turmeric or powdered ginger or powdered spices, right? A lot of the times they're packaged so that they don't spoil, right? Okay. But all those ingredients that they're putting into those products are carcinogenic. Uh-huh. So they're basically pulling away from what's good for us and what goes right from the table or from the garden to the table, instead of from the garden to the factory to the trucks. I mean, wait, I got this wrong. Okay, it's from the garden to the trucks to the manufacturing lines, so the factories that put that pollution into the air, right? So which do you think is giving less pollution? Our backyard gardens or those damn big agricultural centers that they're insisting that we pay homage to, that we are only allowed to purchase food that has been either packaged in a factory or packaged in a lab? Huh? Yeah. So now what they're doing is they're looking to ban backyard gardens. What the hell? What the hell is that all about? And listen, one other thing I'm just going to add in here at the end, okay? Every 10 years, there is a meeting in, I think it's Geneva, and it's where the World Economic Forum, where they get together, all these bigwigs, they get together and they get to decide how they're going to reset our world, okay? So I agree with President Trump, okay? President Trump. What President Trump wants to do is he wants to pull out of the World Economic Forum. And I don't agree, I don't blame him. And I don't disagree with him. But you have to be a man of your word or a woman of your word. You have to be someone with some balls in order to do that. And he had the balls. Yeah. He had the balls to stand up to these people. And right away, what happened? Yeah. Anyone that opens their mouth and stands up for freedoms or stands up for rights in the world that we live in, they're ostracized or they're pinned or they're called names. They're called racist. They're called Nazis. They're called, right? I don't get it. I don't get it. But I think it's a joke. I think it's a joke. I mean, it's ridiculous. They're going to tell us that we can't grow. They're going to tell us that we can't grow a garden in our backyard because we are going to add to that carbon footprint. I'm calling you on this. That's horse shit, and you know it. See you on the next video. The good Lord be willing. Or maybe the government be willing.